In both cases, there was some breach of protocol. And that breach of protocol probably led to the outcome that we saw. And is it directly comparable? I don't think so. The venues were totally different. Trump was giving a speech in an outdoor venue in the summer, and Reagan this was spring, and he was giving an indoor talk, and then he was.
I just meant the proximity to the shooters. The proximity of the shooters got to their targets.
Yeah.
If you think about Hinckley being 30 feet.
Yeah.
Right.
It's odd. It's odd he got so close.
Yeah, and you wonder, not to parse down too far into something that may not even be germane to the conversation, like the technology, for example, of the earpieces in '81. Yeah. Right. How good was the communication? Because
they're the flying pigeons back then, right? So they would send the pigeon out with the scroll.
Well, the Fred Flintstone and the scroll. The other question too, with how close Hinckley got. Obviously, was there metal detectors in '81? Were the people that?
Oh, sure, yeah, absolutely.
So there was metal, and because there was obviously metal detectors in the Trump situation.
Magnometers, yeah. I think that they requested 13. They only had 10 for Trump's venue, is what I read.
Oh wow,
yeah.
But he didn't get through a metal detector.
But the more important,
the shooter at Trump didn't get through a metal detector.
No,
so the fact that there wasn't enough metal detectors.
He was outside the perimeter.
Yeah, which is
that's the point. That perimeter was maintained this time around. But what wasn't maintained is their surveillance. There was a water tower, this kind of tall water tower with the tank on top, just outside of the set of buildings that both the Secret Service sniper team and Thomas Crooks was using, right, separately. That one was unsecured, but it was the best vantage point. If they'd have had a surveillance team, that is the Secret Service had a surveillance team, they could have had a person up there with binoculars, two people up there with binoculars, and they did not. So
how do you explain that? How do they explain that?
Because Jill Biden was giving a speech. She had a 400-person venue that she was talking to, and they provided her both sniper team and the surveillance team. Trump had 15,000 outdoor venue, and they denied him the surveillance, but they gave him the sniper team. The point, though, here that I want to make quickly is that had that water tower had a Secret Service agent on it, they would have seen Crooks on top of that roof way before he ever pulled the trigger. Yeah. And the game over, right? But because of the shortages, they did not have a surveillance team. What they could have done, however, is they could have taken the sniper team, which were pairs. So a sniper team is in two. So they could have taken the 3 sniper teams they had and turned those into one-man sniper teams, 3 one-man sniper teams, and 3 surveillance guys, right? They would have been separated, but they could have been in communication with walkie-talkies.
Doubling your effective,
making a surveillance team when you didn't have one. That's just me. I am not an expert about these matters.
Let's take this to down one notch darker, and here it is. What are the chances that the Biden administration intentionally delineated the extra resources to Jill Biden to create a security deficit for Trump? So, I mean, with the hopes, because they were saying, some people said the quiet part out loud.
It's a plausible scenario, and partially the reason is that there was at that time, the Secret Service, the CIA, the FBI were all aware that Iran had agents considering assassinating Trump.
They discovered the assassination attempt in the works with the Iranian government.
Which is why they insisted on having the sniper team at Trump's rally. They knew that Iran was targeting Trump. And so with that knowledge in hand, that they didn't have their surveillance team.
More resources,
it makes you wonder, right?
Yeah, I mean, more than wonder.
Now, there's a corollary to this, potential intentional gaffe with Reagan as well. It turns out that the Hinkleys and the Bushes were very close families, close enough that Neil Bush and John Hinckley Jr., the assassin, his brother Scott, were scheduled to have dinner 2 days after the assassination. These were people who were communicating with one another.